While we see that most forward-thinking organizations have tools and procedures in place to manage data in motion and data at creation, but often overlook legacy data at rest. There is petabyte of unstructured legacy data stored across the organization with no or very limited visibility. You cannot protect what you cannot see. And more you are going to hear from our expert in the presentation today, followed by a live demo of Classify Data Discovery and Compliance Suite. So let me quickly introduce the presenter for the day, Sukhpal Singh Sandhu. Sukhpal is the co-founder and director of Classify Technology. He is CISSP ISO 27701 with over 2 decades of experience in the information security domain. And before we start, some housekeeping rules. We will keep you on mute during the presentation. Any questions you can please write in the question box, and we will take those up in the last after the demo, depending on the time availability. So all good, let's get started. Let me sign off for now and hand over to Sukhpal. Over to you, Sukhpal.
Good afternoon, guys. Warm afternoon here, and things are, getting hot day by day. And definitely, as Sanjay has said, thank you so much for joining us, for this webinar second in the series, right? And we all know that we all are going through, these tough times, and let's hope that, these time will pass soon, and all of us will, come through it healthy, right? And with a lot of new energy to, face new challenges, which life is going to definitely throw at us, post this pandemic. Right? And just take good care of yourself, stay safe, and let's start. Okay. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for the introduction. And as Sanjay said that, in our series, in our earlier session, so we just discussed about, the data classification and from the overall perspective and the need and the approach, probably the 5-pillar approach, if you can remember that, right? And which are very, very critical pillars to have, a very, very strong data security framework, and which start from discovery to classification, protection, the monitoring and the automation part, right? We touched base on that. And then just to continue on the same series, so we thought of touch base on another very, very critical, aspect, which is of, critical business data visibility and discovery, right? Is a big pain for all the enterprises, right, across, and because a lot of, privacy concerns and a lot of compliances and a lot of breaches which are happening out there, right? So, the enterprise data security teams and CISOs teams, and there is a data protection teams or risk and compliance teams are having really tough time, right, in managing and addressing these challenges. Okay. Okay, so quick agenda. So the flow of this session is going to be, I'm going to cover off on a couple of, current challenges and concerns which are faced by the industry experts, right? And the relevance of data discovery and what is the relevance, why exactly, organizations should adopt it and should put their, focus on. It's a very, very critical, pillar in your overall strategy, because as they say that, you can't protect what you can't see, right? So it's very important to have the visibility of your, crown jewels, in the organization. So then we'll move to the introduction of our solution, which is Data Discovery and Compliance Suite, and then followed by the most interesting part. I'll show you live some use cases and the demo of the solution, because I'll be spending more time on that, and I'll try to be, as less time as I can spend on the presentation part, and try to show you a lot of live action, and then we'll start with the Q&A. Okay. So this is the slide which I actually really like a lot, and this is actually the situation in any organization, right? And because if you take any organization, so right, so they are struggling with the actually what is called uncontrollable data growth, right? So a lot of data is getting generated in the organizations. New application adoption is happening. the cloud adaptions, and there's a lot of productivity applications, the nature application, finance application. There's a huge the new adoption of the application of productive tool is adoption is happening, right? And a lot of data is getting generated. Right, these all apps are the huge amount volume of data is getting generated, right? And as I was just reading, so they're saying that in last year, so every year on year, so it is the data is getting multifold, right? In fact, in 2019 they said that the whatever data which was been generated in the till the time internet was started till the a year before, so in 1 year only more than that data was is being generated, right? So huge what you can say, the flooding, right, which is happening across the industries across the globe, right? And this data is primarily as I said, that you can divide into two different formats. One we call the structured data, and other is the unstructured data. Structured is the one which is lying in your databases. Most of the time that it is in a database and properly in tables and columns and rows and all that stuff, and which is then you have the interfaces to access that, and a lot of controls to access controls and other controls which are there as a part and security configuration for the access controls, right? But on the other side, the bigger challenge is with the unstructured data, right? Unstructured data is done when it is a lot of the different files which are out there, right? Which are getting generated, right? Whether it's by productivity apps like Word, Excel, then there's a mail apps, and then you have the drawing tools, and then you have your some applications like text and logs and HTMLs and XMLs, and there's a different different file formats in which this data is there, and that is what it is. It is the whole management is being made tough because of this different unstructured the file formats, right? Another bigger concern here in the organization of, because this is uncontrollable growth, is a lot of the same data is a lot of deduplication, or there's a word they use, rot, right? So rot data is called redundant, obsolete, and trivial, right? So there's so much data, so much duplication of the data is happening, so much data which is actually not required, right? So-called what we use the term is already expired, right? So it is not much relevance is there to the organization, but it is lying in the organization, eating away a lot of the storage points, right? So, and which is actually the wastage of the resources, right? And then it's a lot of because of this huge data, right? So the security teams are definitely much concerned about the the compliances and the data security to ensure that it is properly secured, and it is not many unauthorized people have access to that, right? And this gentleman, which you're seeing on the screen, is the poor guy. That's what they call. This you can say that he can be a CISO, or he can be a DPO, or he can be a risk and compliance head and all that. So who has to continuously struggle, continuously fight this battle of humongous data growth, and to ensure the compliance and the security, right? So he's all the time is struggling, right? And but probably what I can say is that he's primarily fighting what we call a two-front war, right? On one side, right, he's continuously worried about the compliance, a lot of compliances which he has to ensure that are met with, right? A lot of new compliances which are coming up, they are all data centric, right? Or these days more and more buzz is happening around the data privacy, which is becoming a really big concern. A lot of countries has come up with their own data privacy regulations, and in fact India is coming up with their own, right? And the mature ones you all must have been hearing and dealing with every day is like GDPRs, or and the let's say PCI, or then there's the California Data Protection Act, or then there's a health industry related stuff, or maybe some information security management systems, right? So they all at the core touch and talk about the the data security and the data privacy, right? So this poor guy has to continuously fight on this front to ensuring that all the relevance, compliances he's meeting with, and ensuring all the data is in place, and the security and the whatever the regulations requirements are, he has to meet with. And on the other side, right, he's continuously also, worried about the data breaches. What if someone breaks in and takes his data out? What if, some insider, just, get a copy of the data and try to, smuggle it out, right, for some benefits, right? So on this side is a big again worry, because there's a lot of this data has become a value, right? As the recent one, we all have seen a lot of now biggest breaches which has happened. So this data is being sold in those what we call in the dark web, and those kind of places, where in each and every record, or each and every the data which is being exfiltrated or breached or the copied by these guys have a value, right? So this is a complete economy, and so which is causing huge losses, right? So 2019 was there's the crazy numbers, which the cost of the breaches which has happened. So it is not a million billion, it's $1 trillion losses, right? So global annual cost of data breaches, which most of the industries has to incur, right? And another, this guy's biggest worry is that most of the time, right? So his teams or his the people who are responsible for the protection of the data, right? They have no clue, that whether this data breach has happened, when it happened, how it happened, how much the volume of the data which has been leaked out, right? So he's continuously struggling on that, and most of the time he come to know that some breach has happened when it become public, right? Some hackers write to them, okay, give me money, I'll make it public, or some media or some security industry or someone, they reveal this their data, saying that, okay, your data is out, right? And which causes a lot of damages to the reputation, to the market share, to the market values, right? And the losses and the lawsuits and all that, which is they have to face post breach, right? And just so if I can compile a couple of the questions which again this guy is continuously struggling to get answer, is that what data is critical, right? This is the major struggle is happening on that, right? So what exactly is critical? What is the crown jewels, right? These are huge millions, billions of unstructured data which is floating, right? But out of that huge data, where should he focus, right? Where should the security control be applied? You can't blindly protect us, everything, and and have a huge storage and have a unlimited kind of storage options available for users and for his data storage purposes, right? And till the time he doesn't get answer that what exactly is critical, right? He can't think his protection strategy, that what and how he has to protect that data, right? Where it is residing, right? This is again very, very critical question which is struggling to get answer on almost every daily basis. That so he really struggled to find that where exactly this data is residing with the critical data, right? So there might be people have created multiple copies, and I said that the ROT, if there are redundant copies, and if there's a some critical data which is lying at some unsecured place, or someone has kept and on a share which is not properly protected, right? Or it is lying because of some compliance which needs the data to be protected or extra protection to be applied, like for example PCI, which mandates that data has to be masked or protected, right? So he actually has is doing a lot of struggle to get visibility on that where exactly his data is, right? So he wished that if he can get an answer to that, right? Who have access to it? No clue, right? So who is accessing what data, what rights they have on that, whether they have the full rights or they have what level of rights on that data which they have access to, or whether the the right people have right access to the data, right? Or it is the data which is very critical. It is being exposed to, you know, the outer world, or it has been exposed to, you know, the people even within the organizations who are not, you know, supposed to, you know, have access to the data, right? And now with the adoption of clouds and the things are becoming more open, and, you know, it is actually, you know, going on the public domain. So what exactly is being posted where, and one wrong configuration and your actually critical data may land in, you know, hands of wrong people. And as I said in the earlier slide, the biggest, you know, the sword which is hanging on his head is that on the compliances, right? Whether it's a regulatory compliance or whether internal, you know, compliances, because there are people, a lot of people who are auditing them and come every second day, you know, to audit the system and to ensure that, you know, all the protection controls are in place and all the data is secured. But this guy can only secure the data when he know what his critical data is, what is supposed to secure, right? So whether all the data which is supposed to be secured is secured, whether he has a visibility that where this data is lying across the enterprise, and, you know, so that he can sanitize and he can be, you know, very, very sure that relevant data is, you know, lying at the right place and the right people have right access to that, right? So these are a couple of questions, you know, which, you know, when I meet my friends in the industry, you know, almost every day, right? So all the CISO community, so I keep on meeting them often. So these are a couple of common questions which they are actually really struggling. So Paul, this is our big fan, man. Just, you know, and if something can be done about this, we will be, you know, not a super happier, but we'll be at least happier, and a lot of our pain points will be reduced, so that we can put our focus, you know, on ensuring that, you know, proper data protection programs are in place and they are executed and they are deployed. All right. And you know, and this is what I have to say is that you can't protect what you can see, right? It is very, very important to know, you know, what is your crown jewels, what is the, you know, importance of your data, what is critical for the organization, what will be the impact if this goes to a wrong people hand, or if this goes out, right? So you have to have the, you know, the visibility to have, you know, some protection control deployed, right? So similar goes for our, you know, I'll take the analogy at our homes, right? So we have what are important, you know, let's say some property papers or our jewelries, or let's say maybe some cash or really important stuff, right? We know what is the critical, you know, stuff of really importance to us we have, right? And then only we, you know, apply or probably think of applying some protection, right? So for a more critical stuff we have, we think of, you know, putting in the bank locker, right? Or we keep some locker at our homes, and you know, maybe, you know, and less critical stuff we probably keep in Almira with a lock and key. So it's very important to know what is the what is of importance to the organization, right, before it can be protected. So the same, you know, if you talk to, you know, a lot of network security vendors and other, you know, the security vendors, so they all are talking the same language. So you talk to our next generation firewalls, right? So the Palo Altos of the world, the other guys, right? They all talk about, you know, giving you the visibility first. They said start with the visibility, so that you can at least see what is happening, what is the traffic which is flowing, and what is the people are doing, right? And same should be applicable to your, the moment the things come to your data security. You should be able to get the 360-degree view, at least visibility, that what data, you know, critical data you have, right? Where it is. So once you get the visibility, then you can, you know, you can apply your energy to deciding on the security controls, and this process has to be continuous, right? It's not a one-time activity. It has to be a continuous. As and when something new is coming up, you should get visibility. It's not that once you've done, and then, you know, because, you know, on daily basis in the organization, couple of GBs and couple of TBs, in fact, maybe more, is getting generated every day. So you should have that capability of continuous detection and continuous discovery and continuous visibility of the, you know, critical data which you know, it's getting generated in the organization. And again, better categorization, better, visibility or segregation of the data, right? Okay. So what we discovered, discussed in our last, session, I'll very quickly, touch base on these 5 pillars of our default by smart by default data, right? So approach, and which had the 5 pillars, starting with the discovery, classification, protection, monitoring, and the automation, right? So this is the approach of smart by default data that we have evolved, and we are trying to educate that this is kind of you can say the best practice approach or methodology which organizations should adopt when it comes to to defining and implementing a better data security program. Okay, and today we are going to keep our focus on the discovery part, right? And as last time we discussed on the classification, touch base bit on discovery. So in this session, so our objective is to probably touch base on discovery in that, right? So what constitute, what are the critical components when it comes to the discovery? What all functionality, what are capabilities? Again, I'll say that these are some of the questions which I have jotted down based on my interaction with the CISO community and all my friends out there in the industry, right? So these are some of the critical points which they need, they wish to have, right? And which is the one which is going to address them, that okay, this is there, so we will be able to make our data security posture more matured and more secure. Okay, and the first one is the identify business critical data in this situation, right? So they want to have the capability to identification of the business critical data along with its location, right? Where exactly it is. It is lying on a laptop of user A, it is lying on the desktop, it is lying on let's say on your storage points, lying on your in somebody's emails, on databases, on cloud, or where exactly it is lying. So people want to have the visibility on that. Okay, but what is the format in this critical data? Because as we discussed in the beginning, that so it is the unstructured data, which is the same data can be into different file formats, right? So that means there can be some, let's say, specific data which can be in a Excel sheet, right? Because you have put it there for some computation purpose, some analysis purpose, and whatever the computation you have done, some analysis, so the user can again copy it on a, let's say, a Word file to create a proposal. And the same data you can copy on a PPT, right? And then eventually create a PDF and send it to customers. Just think, same data, how many different formats. So it's very important to know the what we call the data containers, right? Where exactly it is, what file format it is, right? And it should be irrespective, right? The data, the smart people, it can be in a text file, it can be in an image file, right? It can be in a your different PDFs, words, it can be a multiple different file formats in which the data can be. It's very critical to get the visibility on the information of the data container as well. What is the sensitivity and criticality of this data? What is the relevance, right? And giving the complete context and why it is sensitive, what it contains. By looking at the file, you can't say, because there's a file might be a, let's say, the complete profit and loss statement with all the details. And if the name says profit and loss statement critical, then okay, so the people who's looking at it can make sense of that. But what if this name is called the demo.txt or doc or PDF? You can't make any sense. It's very important, to get the visibility of whatever the name may be, whatever the file format may be. Or there may be a smart guy, so it was a, let's say, docx, and he changed the extension. He made it to do txt he repeats, and when you look at it, you can make out whether it's which the file format, right? So the true file type identification and actually getting into that and analyzing the entire content and actually pinpointing that what is what this actually container contains, whether it's a financial information, whether it's a PII information, or it's a PHI information, or it is any financial information of the organization, or whether it's the HR related information, right? And then based on the content and context, the criticality and sensitivity of the data, who all have access to that, right? That means wherever this data is residing, or what we call data at rest, right? Who all have access to that? Whether right people have the right access, or there's a critical data which has been put in some place which everybody full access, or whether it is has to be, let's say finance data, and only finance people are supposed to access, but someone has added, let's say, one guy from HR also, or some other IT guy also, right? So these IT guys mainly have a lot of controls, and some people are there in those IT teams. So just for the heck of it, they try to give them additional privileges, and try to test themselves to some repository, and then they can access to that. But in the time you don't get the visibility, right? And so you will not be able to take any action, because you are totally blind what is happening with the data. You can't every day, there are huge volume of data and repositories, so you can't manually do this exercise. Is it classified? It is categorized. It is based on the sensitivity of the organization, right? Whatever the classification policies are, has those classification been applied on that? Has exclusive tags or some kind of identification marking has been applied to that data? Very, very important aspect, right? And the need is to get the complete content and context visibility, right? So across different repository, across the different, whether it's on-prem, in cloud, in data centers, wherever this data is residing, the complete visibility of that, right? And more focusedly, that if there's any compliance data do the organization carry, right? So is there any compliance which is getting violated? Do we contain, if there's a, let's say, organization who's, let's say, maintaining some let's say healthcare data, so PHI, or let's say credit card data, PCI data, right? So whether that data is being always protected, is there any unprotected data lying across? The moment is any even some instances of unprotected data, this is going to cause a big fine. So this is what auditors do. They come, they use these kind of tools to do the discovery, and then try to corner you. And this is the biggest pain of all these. I said the CISOs and DPOs and risk and compliance team, because they fear this the most. They fear these audit guys who are externals, and maybe those guys comes, and they always pray that they shouldn't be able to lay their hands on some data or maybe they'll be able to extract some information which they have no clue of, right? So a couple of points which are very, very critical from the discovery overall. And just coming to the solution which we have to offer is the classified data discovery and compliance platform, right? And it has been very thoughtfully developed with a lot of these inputs of the industry friends, which they are giving, and they are continuously giving, and for the betterment of our platform, right? It helps you to identify the business critical data at rest, right? Different repositories, different locations, databases, structured emails, and all that kind of different data repository. So we help you to get visibility of business critical data, classify the files based on content, right? So it apply the classify on the different or categorization of the data, right? You can do that based on the content, and it all happens on the fly. Protect the data. So this protection is really play a very important role. That so when some unwanted data or inappropriate data is found in some wrong places or with the wrong user, right? So it's very important for this, again, the risk and the security teams should be able to take action, right? Without the knowledge of the user. For example, if they found that there's a one guy in, let's say, some admin department get hold of, let's say, a file which has all the salary details of all the employees, right? And they found it, and they should be only able to have take some action, right? Actions like lock the file or revoke the rights, or maybe get a copy of that so that they can actually analyze the file and do the forensics, or they can they should be able to completely wipe out that file. So we give a lot of those functionalities, right? Analyze the results, right? There's a lot of the different analysis which our platform offers, so you can of the discovery based on different, whether you want to do a user-based analysis, or what information is found on a specific user, or a specific data type, or specific compliance type, or specific file type. So there's a lot of probably I'll show that to you when we move to the demo action, that how actually our interactive dashboards help you in the better analysis of the data, and actually enhancing the ability of DLP and your security controls, right? By applying those categorizations and classifications and those sensitive information, right? Those and embedding that in those documents, right? In the metadata of those files, with information which is discovered, right? It happens on the fly, so there's no involvement of the user. So the administrator or the security teams can do that without even involvement of the user. They can apply the classification, they can do the protection, they can wipe it, they can protect it, they can revoke the rights and all the after analyzing it. And so that your protection control will also automatically start to act on that, right? If, for example, there's a file which has been found which has confidential data, so and you should be able to apply the classification as confidential. So once it's been applied, so now if someone will try to send that out, so immediately system will raise a alert DLP systems, or your web security, email security, all the security ecosystem, they should be able to apply the appropriate controls which are required for the protection of the data, right? So very, very quickly on that. And this is again one of my favorite slides. So we help you to discover your business critical data before bad guys do. There's a race. Actually, trust me, there's a race going on right now. These guys are out there running after your data, and and it's just the race, right? Whether you'll win and you will be able to identify your crown jewels and it will be able to protect it at that time, right time, or those bad guys will have access to that data and take it out, and then they make money, right? So this race, someone has to win, and our job is to ensure you guys win, the security team wins, by giving you the visibility of your critical data and letting you apply the security controls on the data, so that if someone is going to break into your system and try to copy that data, he should not be able to do anything about it, right? For example, if you are able to identify that data and you apply the rights and you are protected it by encryptions or other security controls, so your worry has, your risk or your attack surface area or your has overall gone down, right? So you are now your worry is less that whether those bad guys are going to copy that or not, right? The bad guys will come in anyways, right? So this has to be clear to everyone. The bad guys will be in anyways, but only thing is that what they will be able to take it out, right? So the objective is to reduce the damage, give them the less exposure to the business critical data, so that the crown jewels are safe and secure, right? Even they get a copy, so they don't have the key, so they can't do, right? So you are safe. Okay, and this is as I show that there's a huge data. So what exactly happened to this data is that, so we help you do this categorization, right? So data which is uncategorized, which is you don't have the visibility, right, or which you can't make any sense. So we'll give you this visibility that what exactly is data is and what it contains, right? We give you this visibility, we'll give you this segregation of the data, and exactly pinpointed where your critical data is residing, what critical information it has, which user system, what are the rights on that, everything. We give you the complete visibility, right? So this is one slide which will actually give the complete messaging that what happens to the data, which is totally unclassified, unsegregated, uncategorized data, right? Will get into get sorted out kind of a thing, right? On different categories, then based on the content, context, and what it contains, and giving you a lot more deep insights on the as I said, the visibility on the that where exactly it is riding, whether it's a database or email or where exactly it is riding different repositories, and give you a the complete visibility of that. Okay, couple of use cases very quickly. Number one, identify critical data. Number two, data classification and data tagging. Number three, data protection. Four, compliance and single click remediation. Just a couple of which the broader use cases which the platform help you to achieve. Okay, and this is again this year has started with this is a good news for us. Brought this very good news for us in the beginning of this year, right? So we are this data discovery and compliance suite won this a global very prestigious cybersecurity excellence award 2020, right? And there were other global leaders who are there in that, and and this we won this really prestigious award, and I think that's give us a really good boost and for the starting of this year, right? And which is actually the giving us a message. Yes guys, you're doing good, you're on the right path, but still there's a very long way we have to go. The continuous improvement, there's a continuous innovations which we are doing almost on daily basis, the feature enhancements, right? And we still think that we are just have long way to go, and to to add on more feature functionality, and to make it a bigger risk management platform, right? Okay, I think enough of the presentation. So my plan was to be very brief on this part, and actually show you live the action, so that you can get the real feel of the solution and its functionality. Okay, good. So as I said, that this I'll probably try to give you a run through of this platform, and give you a couple. I'll not be going in very much depth and going to each and every option, but from a different use cases and how the look and feel and the functionality and the capability perspective. So I'm going to touch base on that, so that you get a very fair idea on the functionality and the outcome that you can expect from this platform. Okay, by the time this screen you guys see the next screen. So this okay, so sorry, just a moment. Okay, so this by the time this you'll be able to see this, it's on your screens, right? So this when it comes to the discovery, I'll touch base bit on the architecture and how to perform the discovery, right? So we have the functionality of doing what we call is a persistent agent-based discovery, and on the other side we have what we call as a agent-less discovery. Okay, so agent-based discovery is that it is you install a very lightweight agent on the repositories, like especially your endpoints and your other storage point servers where you have your unstructured data, right? And but for your structured data discovery, or for your even for the endpoints or some system where you can't deploy your agents, right? Or maybe in the cloud repository and all that. So we have a complete agentless discovery also, right? So wherein you are just there's some prerequisites, some ports need to be open and some credential need to be provided, right? So you can connect, and then you can start the discovery, right? So agent-led discoveries, people really especially our friends who are into the consulting domain, they really like that feature, wherein so there's no footprint which will be there. It's just on the server, and we have our architecture is something called a remote scanning agent. So remote scanning agent will go and do this discovery on across different repositories in the network, the cloud, and different locations, and give you the the outcome which is there. Okay. Now I have some pre-populated data which you are seeing on the screen, and I'll try to run you through that, right? So it is, what you're seeing is that it give you a summary dashboard that what exactly, on the summary by the first glance, you can see that, there's a discovery has happened, how many, on how many assets, how many total file discovered, how many files have sensitive information, what is the percentage of file, what is the, risk level of the organization, right? So there are multiple parameters which go in the risk as of now because of, because I have a lot of dummy data here. So risk depend upon the content and context and, the criticality and the risk factor, right? So we show this, calculate this on multiple parameters, the risk, overall risk score, and we show you low, medium, high type, right? We show you all the different types which were types of files which are discovered, right? What is the sensitive information which was discovered, right? You can see different data which was been discovered on that, on different file type sensitive information which I was just mentioning about, which all compliances data you have, right? You have PCI, you have some Canada related data, you have Australia DPA data, UK DPA data, Indian IT Act specific data, right? So the objective is to to give a kind of a visibility that what is, and bring your focus on the points or on the data where it should go at the first point, right? Because when I again talk to during my discussion with my friends in the security fraternity, right? So they all say that, Supal, it's very we are very much confused on the starting point. I don't know where the critical data is, and if we can get a visibility that I'll at least get a starting point, right? I'll pick one compliance, and maybe I'll pick some sensitive information, right, and start acting on that. I'll start from somewhere and then protect it, and then see the result, and then go to next one, next protected, or remediate it, or at least I'll get a visibility that where my actually the most critical data is scattered. And for these kind of a tool, most of the time business teams get involved, and then they give their inputs on the the critical data, right? Because as in the organization is the business data, right? So business teams give the these inputs that, okay, for let's say finance team gives, or sales team gives, or admin team gives, this is our critical data. And now it is on the shoulders of the security teams, data security teams, or CISOs, or DPOs, or the other risk and compliance team, to ensure that the critical data which is being shared, or the crown jewels which has been identified by the business, they should be able to go and find that where exactly those crown jewels are in the organization, whether they are protected, where they're lying, and so that they can define their strategy, or they can define their war plan, that how does data need to be protected or taken care of, right? So we give this visibility, and unclassified file summary, and the classified file summary, and the detail on the system on which the discovery has been done, and we give that on the first screen, right? And you get a fair idea of what is the status, where exactly you are, right? And I'm not going into details of policy creation and all that. So that happens in the background, because the step one is the policy creation, wherein you feed in the question like where you want to run the discovery, right? What you want to run the what you want to search, or in the discovery, right? And what specific file types, or what specific content you want to scan, right? On which system you want to scan, which repository you want to scan. You put them in a policy, and then you just choose that, and you schedule a scan, and you can do a multiple schedules of those scans, right? So wherein you might want that a one-time scan, right, and want to get the visibility, or you can have a weekly scans or a monthly scan, all right, and the system will automatically at a specified time and day will run the scan and give you the results, right? That's what you're seeing on the console, right? And then the interesting part is that these deep drill dashboards, right? You can see the deep drill files and databases and emails. So this is a really interesting analysis you can do on the whatever data which has been discovered, right? For example, it is showing you the list of systems on which this discovery has been done, right? And the kind of sensitive information which has been found on that on the individual system basis. Okay, you're also seeing that the amount of unclassified data, the file type, and the sensitive information, compliances or classification. And now these all is they are all deep drillable on the dashboard, so you can run any kind of a compliance on or probably data analysis on this. Okay, just for the demonstration purpose. So I this laptop, let me click on this laptop, and we want to see that what is there in this system, right? And when you'll come down, so you'll see that on this system, right? So there is 81 files which has been found, which has some sensitive information. And if you see, so there are some MAC addresses, Maestro cards, some credit card information, Visa, American Express, Instant Pay, telephone numbers, right? And what is the classification, and what are the different templates which has been used for the discovery, right? So the compliance is right. So there's a Indian FTX data or PCI data which has been found on different templates you are seeing, because you can create different, and in some you can say that I want to scan a specific kind of a data only. Might be you only want to run a specific PCI. Let's say you want to only scan for, let's say, Master and Visa, right? You can create a policy, shoot it. Another one, you can say I want Master, Visa, AMX, Maestro, right? And you can create a policy and shoot it, and you will start getting the results, right? And then down below, we give you the complete telemetry of this discovery which has been done, including the complete the context, right? Where exactly this file is, the data is, what is the IP, who's the user, file type, what is exactly file name, file path, file size, what is the classification if it has been done on that, what is the sensitive information which has been found on this, what is the compliance which this data belongs to, right? Whether it's IT Act or PCI and all that. When this file was created, right? When this file was audited, you get the complete, as I said, that there's a lot of something called raw data, right? Whether it has been you were seeing this file, you found that it has some sensitive information, but file was created in maybe let's say 5 years ago. Whether it is still relevant, the data is still relevant for the organization or for some business function, or it is just a rot. When the audit happened, who was the author of that file? That means who created it. So we capture the author detail and all the detail. For example, the author may be let's say some finance guy, but it's found on some other system machine. Why it happened there, right? So we capture the MD5 hash. This is a very, very important use case, and and I've seen a lot of organizations who have used it for very, very effectively. That for especially for the forensics, the team. So when this is exactly, we capture MD5 hashes at the moment we touch the data before analyzing it. So that means if there is any information which is found in that, and MD5 hash is there, and tomorrow there's some forensics happen, so you want to show that nobody has tampered that data, right? So you can compare the hashes and and find out whether this file has been tampered with at the time when you discovered, and when actually you get a copy of that, and when actually forensics happened on that. And we use it for multiple purposes, for deduplication and all that. So there's a lot of internal things we do, and the user permissions. So this, we actually, on the data, we actually dig in to find out what are the permissions on that file. Whether now here we are seeing it contain PCI data, but on the permission we are seeing that it is everybody full control, or there's some user which has been added, which has been assigned, which is not supposed to have the access of the data. As I gave the example, maybe some smart IT guy who's trying to be over smart and try to access that data, and he has added a specific folder some rights for himself, so that he can get in and he can see the data. So you will get the complete view of the rights also, that who have full control, who have read-only access, who have modification access, what rights they have. So you get in one glimpse, you have you get the complete visibility of the data, right? So similarly, as I was saying, that you can do a any kind of a permutation combination. For example, you are going to say that okay, there's a American Express has been found. The moment you are going to click on American Express, we are going to filter this data and show you the relevant data which is specific to this filter, right? So what has been found on that, what you find, right? And based on classification and all those kind of stop. Okay. So let me show, and the most interesting part is that, okay, before I come to that, so similarly so we show you in the databases, right? So what exactly in the databases, in what tables, what row, column, what exactly data is residing, right? Has gone on this one SQL Server KM. So whether it can be a Microsoft SQL or Oracle or other DB tools and all that, so you can scan your databases and get some visibility that whether if there's any some field which is supposed to be protected, or some data which is lying there, but that programmers have not applied the appropriate protection control on that, right? And we'll pinpoint and tell you that where exactly that the pointed location is, whether it is this table, this row, this column, what is the data which is lying on that, right? And if there is any compliance violation happening, we show you that information. And similarly for your emails, and this is really interesting part. So there are a lot of your times that you have these PSTs and messagings and all those files which are residing, right, which contain a lot of sensitive information. It might be, you must have sent it to someone, or some user might have sent it to someone, or it might be, some folders or some archives, right? We can scan them. I will give you the complete details, whether it's a MSG files or what was the mail, which folder it is lying in, what is the mailbox, who was the sender, who was the recipient, any CC, BCCs that user has done, when this mail was received or sent, right? What is the mail size? What is if there's any sensitive information which is there in the body? Just imagine someone has written that this is the some critical employee details, contact details, 5, and he put it and he sent the mail. We analyze the body of the mail. We analyze the attachments. If there's any attachment, right, with with the mail, we will tell you that exactly what attachment is, and what if there's any sensitive information in that attachment, where exactly that PST is residing, which host, right, when it was audited, who was the user it belongs to, and what are permissions are there, and including the MD5 hash and all that, the complete telemetry in one way. So what I'm trying to go share you is that, so this as being as the auditor, or as being the responsible for the the security of the data, right? So you get the complete visibility on your data, right? And no matter where it is, so your data can't hide anymore. So whether it is lying in your email domain, some PSTs or some message files people have saved and they have kept it anywhere, right? Maybe in some folder, some file, or whether it's in your databases, or whether it is in your normal unstructured data. Our objective is to give you the visibility so that you can take action on that. Okay. So then is the interesting thing is on the action part. How then, once you have got the visibility, so you definitely want to secure it. You want to clean it up. You want to go away with your raw data. So you also want that power, your authorized people, that though if they need to take some action on the data, right, they should be able to do that, right? And in those actions, so we have included something called remediation actions, we have classification actions, we have data protection actions. Very, very interesting. I'll just showcase that to you. And these are the main actions, right? So in the remediation action, so we let you take some remediation actions. For example, delete. So if you found some data in some place, right, and you want to take action on that, you can just select the data, and from this admin console, you say delete, data will go off. You say move is quarantine. So you want to analyze some you've done an audit and you want to see actually the content of that file. You say move or quarantine. So the data will you'll pick a copy of that, and you can dump it in some secure storage, so that that guy doesn't have access to that data anymore, and you get a copy of that, so that you have the evidences, and you can whether you want to need to prove in the court of law or for your internal disciplinary action, so you can take action on that. And replace, this is I love this feature. It's a very, very interesting feature we have. I'll just show you so that you can, and apply classification. So we fetch your data classification because this is a very tightly integrated platform with our data classification platform. We automatically on the fly fetch your data classification schemas, right, and allow you to apply the classification on the data which you have discovered, right, sitting at this console without even user intervention, without user knowing it, right. And the protection. So protection with our technology partner Seclor, right? So once you have identified the data, you can also remotely on the fly apply the protection profile. That means you will be able to revoke the rights, or you can apply specific rights. So for example, you have found some data which is let's say financial data which are in the appropriate place or some repository. You can select those all the files, apply protection, and based on that profile, if the profile says only let's say XYZ people can access that data, they only should be able to access it. Even though, for example, there was a let's say Sanjay, there's some data found on Sanjay machine, right, which he is not supposed to have access. So the security team apply the protection profile. So on the data, right, so it will be logged. So next time Sanjay click on that, they say no man, you can't access it. Or you can apply the right. Sanjay can only now write when earlier he had full control. Right now he can only, this file will become read only. That too after authentication. He can't print it. He can't share it with anybody. You can apply those kind of protection right from here. See the power, right? See the power which is coming in now in the hands of the data security teams, auditors, the data protection teams, right? The CISO teams. Now they have got the power in their hands and they feel so confident. Yeah, they get a visibility. They can control the data. They can quickly audit. If there is some, they are suspecting that some kind of, let's say, incident has happened, they can quickly run a scan and get the results. And not only the result, they can take action also. They can delete the data, they can get a copy of that, they can log the data, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of interesting action they can do on that. Okay, let me show you a couple of actions if I can. I can show you. So this is the data. I just so that you can live see that I have this some pre-populated thing. So for example, if what is seeing here is one file which has some critical data which is in compliance data and it is in GDPR. It is some American Express.doc. If it is there, or it might be a old data which I have already taken some action on. Okay, let me take the second one, which was PCI DSS. Okay, so this is PCI DSS American Express doc. So this file has American Express details, right? So, but it is not supposed to be found on this machine. So laptop, the guy Sukhpal is not supposed to have this information. This is a very sensitive information, credit card data and all that, and it should be moved. So all the auditor has to do, come here, and I'll show you some interesting feature, which is say replace. I'll just click on replace, and it is sure ask you for the justification, critical data, and I say apply. Now right here, the action has been applied on the data. So just keep your eye on the right two folders. So the upper one is the PCI DSS, this which you're seeing. This has the original data, and below that I have opened the location of the quarantine where they will move this data. So I have applied the action called replace. So what will happen in this replace function is that I'll move the data from that original location and I'll create a dummy file on that location, right? And what this dummy file will contain, I'll just show you that dummy file also, right? So, and this all the detail action you'll be able to see. I take a bit of time. So you'll be able to, you know, take that action on this data which has been, you know, been discovered, right? So your data, the action will happen, and your data will move. See, you will see on the right hand side. So this quarantine has this American Express .doc file, right? And on the top there's American Express doc. Now let me show you what this file contains. So this is what action I have applied on that. So the file. Now the original file content has been moved. Just see what has happened to this file. Due to the policy violation, this file has been moved to some secure place. Please contact your IT security team for the clarification. This complete message you can customize so that, you know, user don't, you know, you have to educate the user also. Or if you want to, you know, tell him that this is something he is wrong, this content you can modify, right? And it will go and it will leave this, you know, with the user. So actually file has moved, but it is created this dummy file, right? So actually, you know, the data has been moved to a secure place. So this quarantine location, you can see that this American Express file has been created here, right? It has moved off. So this is so the moment if we perform the action like delete, so the file will go off from there, right? And I'll show you one interesting one more before we proceed further. Some more very interesting function, which is the security, the securing the document, right? So let me see if I can find some information. So just see the power. Just see the power. The objective is to show you the power that now, which the security, data security people who are responsible, the kind of power they will have in their hands, right? So they'll be actually feel really power, really you know, enabled to, rather than shooting in the dark. So they will be able to, you know, now perform actions, right, on which are actually expected from them, that they should be you know, responsible for the security of the data, right, without anybody tells them that, you know, what the data is. The same what happens, our security teams, our you know, the police teams and other you know, they face every day. They just get this intelligence that some terrorist has, you know, get into some city without knowing anything. Sometimes they'll have a very you know, few you know, some characteristics of the guy, right? So they really have to struggle a lot. But what if they get the details that, okay, there's some guy who has come in who's 6 feet long, wearing a blue jacket and riding some bike, right? So now they know that when they're analyzing the CCTV footage, that they have to, what specific information they have to look at. And then they know that, okay, in some place they'll be able to find that specific information, and then they can take action as well on that, right? Let me see if I can show you this protection feature also. Okay, this is GDPR. Okay, just a moment. GDPR and Belgium. This is some Belgium data, Belgium DL. Belgium DL. No, this is not Belgium. This is DL. There is some data which is. Okay, this is the Belgium DL, right? So this is a file which has been again, you know, some GDPR, some stuff which has been identified, right? So this is the file which is lying at the original location. The folder above is the original location and down is the quarantine, right? So now what I'm going to show you is the protection part. Now, for example, this file has a lot of, you know, let's say this information which is being lying in that, which has some sensitive information, right? It's been classified, right? And what you can do, all you have to do as a security team, and just have to do, I just want to show you, and let's say, you say secure, right? Apply, just secure the data. Okay, secure critical data, right? I just want to show, and it has gone, right? And now just see what will happen to this Belgium.dl. Now at the back end, now the system has identified this critical data. Now to protect it, now there's a protection profile has been applied on this data, right? So on the fly, this will go on that system, and this data will get logged. And also on the real time, you'll also keep on seeing what action has been been getting applied on this data. Just see, have you noticed? So there's a small lock which has come on this file. So when the moment is protected, now this file is protected. So now you are safe. Just see the kind of peace of mind and the power that the security team have in their hands right now, right? So this is the platform which we wanted to introduce, and the approach and the challenges. So wherein you get 360-degree complete visibility of the crown jewels, right? And you get the complete the control on the data. You can take remediation action on both your and you can secure your data as well. Different file formats, on-prem, cloud, everywhere, across, right? And definitely, and the beauty is that one platform will help you to do or be compliant to different compliances, regulatory compliances. It's not that you need to buy one for one and second for other, and then now you can configure it. It's totally customizable. We have a lot of this data which is built in, pre-built in, right? And this is customizable. We can help you to customize that, and you can, with the one platform, you can do analysis, discovery of multiple regulatory compliances. Not just confining to one, that okay, it will do only Indian Act. Okay, we can't do GDPR, or we can't do PCI, no, we can't do CCPA. So this platform is open where you can configure your requirements, and you can start, being compliant to seeing whether there's any unprotected data. And if there's any unprotected data, you're getting the visibility, and then start protecting it as well. See the power, right? And we are actually getting really, really good feedback from our industry friends who have adopted this platform, and they are they have been good comments that their life has become actually to a extent, large extent, very, very easy, right? They are seeing a lot of value coming with automation which they have, which they are able to achieve from the discovery, from the protection part, and from a single pane of console. I think we are almost reached our time limit. Sanjay, let's open the platform for Q&A, and let's hear from the people if they.
Yes, we actually have quite a many questions coming in, and I also see there are duplications. So I try to club those questions so that we can save on time.
Yeah.
So let me take the very first question. It is there an agent that needs to be deployed for asset discovery?
Okay, awesome. So as I said that we have both agent-based and agent-less discovery options available, right? For example, your databases, for your cloud repositories, and so even for your desktop, laptops, and server. So you have the option of agent-based and agent-less discoveries. We have both the options, agent-based and agent-less discoveries. And for databases and for other cloud repositories and the storage point, is all agentless using the APIs, and we use them for the discovery purpose.
Right. So does the tool also do remediation to protect the data once it is identified?
Absolutely. I think that's what I've just showcased, that we offer these multiple functions. We offer you remediation actions. We offer you classification actions. We also offer you the protection actions, right? Remediation means you can do what you call the deletion, the quarantining, the replacing, the demo I shown you, right? And in the classification, you can apply the organization classification policies, and the protection, you can apply the the IRM policies on your identified data.
So another related question to this is, will the entire file will be deleted, hard deleted, if we go for a delete option, or only the sensitive information within that will get deleted?
I think absolutely. I think hats off to this guy. Very, very good question. So as of now, we are have this functionality of complete delete, right? But this request has come to us for what you call a selective data deletion, or what we call selective data redaction or masking. So in our next release, so we are this already team is working on that. We'll bring this functionality. For example, there's a Word file, and in between there's some sensitive data found, let's say some GDPR, and we will mask that data, right, or redact that data, or we'll give you multiple options in that. So which you know, you'll be able to rest all the content will be visible, but that specific sensitive content, if you want, you can apply the multiple you know, redaction or masking and all those features. It is on the way. Very soon we'll be announcing that.
Fantastic. So how the tool deals with data which is password protected, a compressed file, or encryption one, an encrypted one?
Awesome. So I think this is definitely a challenge as far as the password protected files or encrypted files are concerned. I think definitely, you know, we don't have any ways or mechanism to get into that. Nobody has, right? And but if, as long as it's compressed zip file, yes, we can look into the zip files and analyze the data which is there in the zip file, even up to multiple layers, right? So we have the capability which is there.
Can it do a network based scan?
Absolutely. We can do a network based scan as well. So that is said that agent based agentless scan. So we can do our discovery on the, you know, network by giving the IP address range and or a specific system, and you can run the discovery on that, and without any agent network or even if there you have a network some resources like share folders or you know, remote servers, so you can do a network based discovery on that. Yes, we have that feature.
And the next one is, does the solution store any sensitive data while doing the scanning?
I think again, I love this question. Thank you so much, guys. I think really valuable information you are asking. So actually, we are only capturing and storing the telemetry. That means we will capture that the location, the sensitive content identifier by the name, right? And we don't create a copy of that data. For example, if there's a credit card data found, we don't get a, you know, credit card numbers in our database, right? We'll tell you that this file contain the credit card number, this file contain PII information, this file contain financial information, right? And that's all. We don't get any sensitive information or copies of that file in our repositories anyway. So you can do a you know, copies. Let's say if you have performed a, let's say, move function or quarantine function, but that is again in your control. You will configure it a separate repository which is outside our application purview. You can create a network folder or somewhere wherein you want to, you know, dump that file, so which is out of our you know, scope. You just configure that path and we'll pick the files and dump it there. That's all. But in our platform, except telemetry, which I've shown you, the system name, the IP address, what sensitive information it contains, any compliance information, whether what the rights and all that, that remain with us. Actual data, we don't store any, you know, actual data in our database or anywhere.
So I think that takes care of more or less whatever questions we have in hand, and I think we are just within the time. I think we are done with the question, but still anything remaining, any questions which remain unanswered, please do shoot to us. You have the email IDs, and we'll be very happy to get back to you with our answers.
Absolutely. You Sanjay is the right guy. Sanjay at classify.in, his number and his contact details you are seeing on the screen. You are welcome to write whatever question you have, and you know, you want to do a bit more deep dive. It will be really interesting to, you know, show in-depth capabilities of the platform, and you know, take the discussion forward, and actually, you know, maybe from a larger perspective, the more use cases, and you know, to how we can map your specific business requirements also.
Okay, so with this, we come to the end of the session for today, and any feedback, comments, suggestions are more than welcome. If you have any requirements for data classification or data discovery now or upcoming, please drop a note to us and we'll be happy to assist on the same. For our channel partners who joined in for the session today, please do lock in any requirements with us. We have a deal reg program so that we can help you better on and assist you if there are any technical assistance is needed from our side, or maybe any special pricing. You can please write to us on our email. We'll also let you know on our next webinar very soon. And we are very happy to see such an encouraging response. We have almost, yes, 250 plus people this time as well. So thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate. And we hope that you enjoyed the session today. It was insightful and relevant. Thanks also for your all relevant queries and questions. So till then, please do take care of yourself and your families. Stay healthy and safe. Stay safe. Bye for now.
Yeah, thank you so
Cheers.
much, guys. Thank you so much for joining and throwing those questions to us. I really appreciate it. Take care. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye bye.